Welcome back to Fantasy TV, where we get the inside scoop on your real passion, dig deep into your aspirations, and make that fantasy dream become a reality. Today's fantasy is about a woman who's leaving a major mark in public relations industry, hitting the ground running as a political strategist and award-winning public relations consultant. She's worked amongst the likes of Alicia Butterfield, New York State Senator Kevin Parker, as well as DNC Chairman Michael Blake, and many others. Everyone, please welcome Raven Robinson in the building.
Yeah.
You outside, talk to me. Now, what brings you up to this platform?
I'm excited. I was asked to join by the host, who's been a friend of mine and supporter of mine for a while now. So I'm excited because a lot of people don't get to hear my story.
Definitely. Now, speaking of your story, give us like a quick little 30-second background clip of who Raven Robinson is for those who don't know.
So for those who don't know, my name is Raven Robinson. I own a public relations and consulting firm called PR to Politics, where we do one of two things. We work with elected officials looking to build their brand, or we work with nonprofits and corporations looking to not just build their brand, but build relationships with government entities and elected officials.
Now, one of the main questions I wanted to ask you, why did you get into the political field?
I actually got into politics by accident. Well, nothing's by accident, right? So initially when I was younger, I feel like I was always, like many kids from the inner city, I fell in love with leadership. I fell in love with being the boss. I fell in love with access, not just money. And when I was younger, I had a mentor who got me into politics, and I immediately got to see how being in politics beyond money, the way that you're able to impact people, and I fell in love with being able to help people and build those connections.
No, I love that, and I'm definitely going to piggyback off of the mentor aspect. Being as someone had a very pivotal mentor back in high school who changed my trajectory of what I wanted to do. We're going to talk a lot about that. Salute, definitely. But my next question to you was: before PR, what career field did you want to choose?
When I was younger, anybody that went to school with me knows I either wanted to rap or sell weed. So it was a very different trajectory, thanks to my mentor.
Definitely, salute. I'm glad we made a change. You know what I'm saying? Plan B came along, so thank you for that.
Absolutely, because as we know, we just became legal, so that gives a lot of perspective on where my life may have been. And then I literally can't really rap for real, so I would have just been one of those girls that was trying shit.
Oh, you never know. It could have worked. I ain't gonna lie. Man, we not the rap questions. Not yet. But let me see. When it comes to background, take us down a trip to memory lane. What were you like in high school?
In high school, I was a chicken head. I was what people think, Bronx kids are. I was loud, obnoxious. But I was popular in high school, and I know a lot of people, say that or they think that. Like I literally in the yearbook won most popular, most likely to make $1 million, most likely to succeed.
Okay,
so
now.
yes, but I was also student government president. So it was a balance, right? Because I was the kid that I was super hood. I loved rap music. I hung out with the members, but I wanted to really make change. So I got along with people. I never was a bully. I actually used to if I seen bully somebody, I would fake bully the bullies. I would sometimes randomly, I would sit with the kids who were not cool just to pipe them up. So I feel like I always use my superpowers for good. So it's interesting to be in PR now because I've naturally always been a person that promoted things or was persuasive about getting people to do things. But in high school, I definitely was popular. In my earlier years of ninth grade, I was a failing student. I used to always cut school. My teachers failed me. But when I was in school, I was very disruptive. I used to set up rap battles in the lunchroom, even during not my periods. And then when I used to walk into math class, that was the same year Lean Back came out.
Hey.
I would walk into my math class and I would act like I was Remy Martin, and I would make the other students in the class act like they was my little background. So I was crazy and obnoxious, but people loved it. And I think in the Bronx, we find joy in the silliest things. So people used to look forward to oh, look at her, she thinks she really wrong. Look at so
No, for
used
real.
to have fun.
No, definitely. And I say the defiancy builds character, number one.
It does.
So I could see how you made that trajectory from being someone who fights for justice when it comes to bullies to in the political sense. It goes hand in hand, if you ask me.
Correct, and I do appreciate that. I think a lot of people don't have character, or they're building it as they, as
they
go growing. I could honestly say that I feel or I could confidently say, I feel like I'm a person. Even when I was younger, I always had character. And now that I'm older and I reflect on those things, and I'm still very close with my friends from middle school and even elementary school. So I always see how different scenarios played out, and me knowing how to handle me being that person that's like, okay, I heard this person say this, but I'm not going to repeat that because I know they really not on that. And if I repeat it, it could escalate, and me not repeating it or not sharing certain information or, taking a backseat on certain things or just kind of lifting somebody else up, how that could play out. So I'm proud of that. I feel like I have to so much to grow professionally and learn because we all do, but I'm so blessed that I've always had good character.
No, I love the attitude towards that, definitely. Now, I want to highlight the logo that's in the background, PR to Politics. What is this?
So PR to Politics is my consulting firm, and I'm so proud of it because it's the only thing I've ever done. If you've known me, I've never had a formal job. When I was in high school, I worked at the McDonald's in Parkchester, so my Bronx people know the McDonald's in Parkchester. I also worked in an after-school program in Cortland, which is between Melrose and Jackson Projects, but I was a 12th grader. From there, I went to college, and when I graduated college, there was no job opportunities for me. So this is how I started paying the bills, and it's still how I pay my bills. So I'm very blessed and grateful.
Now, salute. You've been doing this for 16 years.
Yes.
What advice do you have for people who's trying to keep their business going for the long run?
So one thing I will honestly say, so I created the name 16 years ago because it was during college when Twitter first emerged, and it was my Twitter name, and I ended up making it an LLC. So one thing that I would say to people is it really takes a long time to really build up your business. So a lot of people may see me now in 2025, but you don't realize like I've had the name and the vision for so long that it wasn't up until the last 3 years that I really started making six figures and being consistent. So never be discouraged about the time frame. I think that for me, the pride of the brand is that it evolves with me, and as I grow, you just gotta like know your thing, know your niche, know what's not fitting for you, and that's what helps me create longevity. Because everyone who knows me professionally, the first thing they think about is like, oh, she's in politics. So when anybody wants to do anything political, give back, I'm always the first person they call. So, just be true to what you want to do and just know it's going to work out.
Now, salute. Now, question: did during the 16 years of your creation of this business, was the name always PR to Politics?
Yes, it was.
That's wow, salute, girl, for
Yes.
real. Even my business name, I thought about this 2 years after I made mine. So the fact that was your blueprint from the ground up is impressive.
Yes, because like I said, it was my Twitter name, and then I just made it an LLC years later. So.
That's hard, for real. Now, talk to me. You have a lot of, like, branding that you do as well. I'm going to get the
Yes.
cup so you can see what we're talking about. Give me 1
Yes.
second. Oh, Brody, we got something coming up on the screen.
Yeah, sorry, isn't that black? Yep. Oh, wait. I don't know if I could get off the frame. I got pens in there, too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Even though I ain't going to put something in it, I'm going to use the video that we did. Yup. Clip that shit right in.
So I got stirrers, I got pens. I'm big on branding.
We on it. And I just saved myself. Since I'm over here bringing the hookah, girl. I'm going to have Parker watch this shit. We ain't smoking during this. And I'm going to clip this part out, so we good.
Okay.
But speaking on the active products, you have a lot of branding that you do.
Yes, I do.
Your PR to Politics cup that I actually use for a special drink afterwards.
You so much.
So talk about the things that you have on your table here.
So what we have on the table here, we have my signature wine glass that I give out to people during my events or people that I encounter, toasting to the brand. And it's things that you can leave at your home that stay with you. I also have stirrers, so when I do my events, people, they
Mix up your drinks.
Yep,
you never know.
Your drinks. My pens have my logo and my website on them. So if you somewhere, you see a pen, oh, what's PR to Politics, or the brand. So I think that it's really important, and it's also about investing in yourself. So the same way you would buy clothes and buy certain brands and be a walking billboard for someone else, why would I not want to be a walking billboard for myself? I literally spend thousands and thousands on my brand every year. If you came to any of my anniversary parties, I always do complimentary food, fire venues, open bars. Like, that's just, I invest in myself.
No, definitely. And speaking of anniversary parties, I just attended this one 2025 at Sobro Garden in the
Yes.
Bronx. It was very impressive. So
Thank
talk to
you.
me about that experience.
So Sobro Garden is owned by a friend of mine named Jimmy Rodriguez. A lot of people may know him. Very big Bronx, very living legend. He's a restaurateur in the Bronx, and you know, I'm the type of person that if you're my friend and you have something, I'm going with that. I'm not. I can't see myself spending money at a place and my friend owns something similar in that industry. So that's how that came about. I
So,
already hang out there, meet friends. I'm doing something for my, even my previous anniversary party. I did it at Madam X because I'm friends with the new owner now, Alex and her partner. We met at an event. We clicked right away. Had my anniversary party there, and then I won't tell y'all the location for my next anniversary party because you gotta follow the brand and see. But it's also by a young lady in the Bronx that I met years ago. When she was doing this, she was doing a podcast. So yeah, I'm a person. If I'm gonna spend the money, I'm going with my people.
no, definitely. I applaud to that. Now, my next question: how pivotal is it for you to build relationships with libraries, bars that you go to, establishments, places all across your neighborhood? How important is this?
It's really important, just because these are the landmarks that we have access to, and we want to support them and we want to help them grow. And as a PR professional, myself and my clients are paying me to be a resource. So as you have different visions, if you want to do a reading, if you want to do a meet and greet or a fundraiser, I need to be able to have that in my back pocket and say, oh, I can call this person, I can text this person, I have a rapport there. So no matter what business you're in, any industry, you have to be open minded and you have to know that you need to build the relationships, because what you don't want to happen is you have a listening party, you have a fundraiser, even a baby shower or something you want to do, and then you trying to scramble. If you already build these relationships in your day to day, we got to go out to eat, we got to do these things, have your local cheers. That's what it's all about, community.
No, definitely, for real. Now, I wanted to jump into the topic of suggestions and tips that you have for business owners. You actually have two products, two
Yes.
novels, two of them that you created yourself. One of them, which actually is to aid business owners like myself,
Yes.
bartenders, hairstylists, and any other people from who just own a business in general. Would you like to
Yes.
talk to us about the first book?
Yes, of course. So my book, I have it here. It's called Your Campaign: A Business Owner's Guide to Understanding Public Relations. Interestingly enough, I tell people the reason why I created this book. One of my close friends, his name is Jr. He has a brand called Secure Your Energy. He's from Highbridge, and we've been best friends for like 15 plus years. But unfortunately, after prom, he committed a murder. He's been in jail for 15 years, and he just came out 3 years ago. During that time of incarceration, we were always, friends. And what he would do is anytime somebody had any idea, I don't care if you said you want to build a straw, I don't care if you said you want to garden. Oh, call my sister. She know how to do that. And I'm like, I don't have time to be doing consultations with the people. Now, the first two people, I take the little 8-minute call. You about to, what kind of business you running in there that you getting consultations
Nah,
with me?
you over here sending inquiries through the inmate inquiries.
Inmates through the J-Pay. So I said, you know what? But I also noticed that during that time, a lot of people in that population want to come home and start businesses, for obvious reasons. So I said, what is the best way that not just for those that are incarcerated, but everyone, that I can put the information that I know in a book. And I'm really proud of the book because even though it's thin and it's small, it's so impactful. And I've been to a lot of conferences. I've personally invested and read a lot of books. And I can honestly say there's some things I remember. There's some things that I'm like, okay, this was fluff. I don't really remember. So this is basically the spark notes of all the investments that I've made in my career. So telling people, how to build a SWOT analysis, what are the strengths of your brands, understanding that something that's a weakness and a threat are two separate things. And a weakness, you can improve. A threat is not to be afraid of. It's just for you to be knowledgeable so you can work around and advance and plan. So I'm really proud of the book because I feel like people that are like on a 12th grade reading level or below, or even PhD, they still get what they need to get out of it.
Love it.
And there's a lot of prompts in it. So it's a real workbook, and it makes you have to write, have to think, have to reflect and reflect back. So I'm really proud of it. But my friend that was incarcerated was definitely one of the motivations because I'm like, okay, I don't never want to get, too big to talk to everyday people because at the end of the day, at one point in my life, I needed that moment. But I also don't want to overexhaust myself. So how can I impact people without having to speak to them or sometimes even meet them? Because some people purchase the book, bless a friend with it, and do that. So for me, it really was coming from where I come from, understanding that we don't have access or proximity all the time. So me putting all of the conferences, all of the books I read in a little Spark Note situation.
Now, question. Being in, I've took a couple lessons and notes from this book. How can you tell when a company lacks a strong PR campaign?
The number one thing for me is when you Google the SEO. So when like it's never no shade, but like if you go on ChatGPT and you put like who's Raven Robinson, who's PR politics, like it's gonna come up.
All right, come on now.
Like yeah, they know what's going on. So I think that that's number one for me when I Google the brand and everything that you're saying that you do, or it just doesn't resonate. And I think also just not having the proper press, not having any press, and just not having like updated websites and updated information and outdated information. I think those are the things that I look for when I'm looking at a brand to know if they have good branding or not.
No, definitely. Now 2024 to help. Ooh, nope. Clip that part. Yes. Now, besides from Fantasy TV, you've also done another podcast platform, Rooting for Everybody Be Okay. Talk to me about that experience.
Perfect. That was so good. That's run by a young lady named Ashley. Shouts to Ashley. That was actually one of the first. This is the second podcast I've done. That was the first podcast that I've done, and I met Ashley because when Forbes launched their Forbes Black Initiative, they reached out to me to become one of their national advisors for the board advisors. And I hosted an event at Brooklyn Chop House alongside Jocelyn Rivera. She's also very talented. And her and I partnered for an event. She was a local advisor for Forbes Black as well. We partnered at an event for Brooklyn Chop House discussing about the pivot and how to build careers. And we invited, of course, our fellow Forbes Black members. Ashley introduced herself to me and she attended. From there, we kind of got locked in, followed each other on social media. And then one day she asked me, like, can you come on my podcast? And I get press from clients. I never really, think of getting press from myself, but I also think I do have a story to share. So it was a good experience, and I have fun. She asked a lot of good questions like yourself. So shouts to the show, Root for Everybody Black.
Hey, now being that was your first podcast, were you nervous for that? Explain to me the feelings that you had on your way to there.
So I wasn't nervous to sit with her, but I'm always nervous on how I'm perceived. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like you can never make everybody happy, right? Like, the reality is, yes, I was popular in high school, but there's a population of people that may feel like Raven was ghetto as hell in high school. How the hell she's on this platform, doing all these things and talking about her clients? Or you may have the people, politics is very judgmental. It just now became a little bit more diverse, but so I'm very realistic. So sometimes I'm like, okay, the people that don't know me prior, they just know me from being with a senator, being with a DNC chair, being with, the Grammy co-president and doing all those things. When they hear like, oh, prior to this, like I literally wanted to trap, I don't know how they're going to take that. Yeah. So I think for me, the nervousness was like, I have such a large audience now, but they're diverse and people from different walks of life. How am I going to be perceived with my story coming out? So that was the nervous part. Like, I've never been nervous to, like, how they joke online about, reading out loud in school and stuff. I've never been nervous to do those things, but I am a person that I'm trying to get through, public perception and how people, feel about me. So you got the people who are like, oh, she shouldn't be on this platform speaking about these things because we don't really feel like, she's polished enough for that. And then the people that are just like, how the hell she came from where I came from, and she, you get
some
the
people underestimate.
Yes,
too,
exactly. And I feel like people do underestimate, and I also feel like you get, even within the inner city groups, you get the two type of people. You get the type of people that's like, oh, she from where I'm from, like that's neighborhood hero vibes. But then you get the people that's like, she from where I'm from, how she did that?
And I don't got just resentment.
Resentment. Yes. So so I'm shout out to all the people that support me. Shout out to everybody from my block that always show me love. I do appreciate it.
I definitely salute. Now, I want to get back into business talk for a second. One of your clients who you've worked with, Senator Parker, who's been a state senator for over 20 years.
Yes.
How did you come to getting that connection?
So that was crazy, and I was like so humble, and like that's still my guy to this day. So State Senator Kevin Parker, he is very accomplished. He's accomplished a lot of laws here in New York. He's the reason we had Juneteenth before it became a national holiday, and so many other things. He's the reason we don't smoke cigarettes in bars, so clean air. Like, he's responsible for so many dope things. And he actually approached me. So in 2012, I graduated college, still like freelancing, taking on very little small projects. And then in 2015, former Obama staffer Michael Blake, who eventually went on to be vice chair of the DNC. And for those who don't know, that's the Democratic, National Committee. They select who's going to be the president and just strategy behind the Democrats. So when he finished working for Obama, he ran for assembly in the Bronx. And then Felicia Butterfield, for those who don't know, she is also a former Obama staffer, but head of diversity at Google, former co-president of the Grammys. They're friends. And when he said that he was running, she was like, "Oh, if you're gonna run for office, hire Raven. She from the Bronx. That's Big Bronx. She Big Bronx." And I'm younger than him, so he's like, "Who is Raven?" So we meet, we connect, and he hires me to plan his inauguration. Inauguration is just once you win, it's like the award ceremony and events that you host. So I planned his inauguration alongside Felicia Butterfield and her team, and that got me a lot of popularity because at that time, Felicia, Tamika Mallory, everybody, they already had a name. But it was like I was 24 years old, from the Bronx. I didn't have proximity with people in government. So they're like, how does this Obama staffer come back home and not hire these fancy consultants? He hires
He must
Raven.
have faith in you.
Like, yeah, like how, you know what I mean? Like, who is this girl? Like, to the point where literally other city council members and other politicians then started asking me, like, how much you charge? Like, you charge mortgage? Like, what? Like, I need you to plan my events. And they seen how little it was. They seen how I had all the influencers. Just everything was, like, monumental. And during that time, Felicia nominated me to get an award. If you're in politics, it's a magazine called City and State. And they do a lot of lists. So during that time, they had the top 40, under 40, and New York State government. After I did that and I was getting more notoriety, Felicia nominated me for that award, and I got it. And it's interesting because myself and Blake were on the list the same year, so that was also monumental. And, it's a list that people in government read. So now fast forward is June 2015. I'm 24 years old, and I go to the reception for the thing. Mind you, I go by myself because, people don't really care about politics, So I go by myself. I don't really have, a lot of support. And Senator Parker screams out, "Yo, Raven, I want you to do my social media." So I'm like, who is...
Ding, 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 ding. Like,
I'm like, yeah. So then, so I started doing his social media. And then maybe, 4 or 5 months passed. And we did a really great campaign for those who, ever followed him. We were, one of the first electeds to have all of our profiles verified. And this is back in that time. Now I know you can pay and different things, but we had
organic out the mud, no ads.
No ads. We did Instagram live shows. We had different people, different guests come in from Chuck Schumer to Don Q to just talk about the census, everything. We did a really good run. And maybe 4 months after me doing his social media, from about August to December, one day he just calls me and he's like, "I want you to do everything. I want you to do my press. I want you to do, I just want you to do." And, at that time, I was his in-house press secretary, which basically just means I had a job in the Senate part-time because I still was, doing my brand. And I did that for 7 years. And I was really proud because we got so much done, laws and legislations and partnerships. And I mean, not to toot my horn, but I feel like I made it look so cool to work in government.
No, you definitely did. And I probably will say this: you probably don't know how many political women who you inspire because you're in that position. Because you're in that. Yeah, there's probably going to be tons of more women who are from the Bronx to Brownsville, East New York, who now want to follow the political field because of seeing a woman of color doing what you do.
And I hope they do it. And my advice to those people especially from inner city communities who don't have the immediate proximity is that you got to understand, you don't got to be fake to be in this. They literally will pay you for the knowledge that you have. When my clients come to me, it's I'm expecting you to know the hottest instrumentals to add behind a post. I'm expecting you to know the hottest bloggers. I'm expecting you to know the best influencers who can endorse me. What's the best podcast to go on? Who's who and the who's who. And that's such natural power that we all have. If you from Soundview or Brownsville or and everything in between, that's our natural life. What's hip? What should you wear? What should you? And those are the things that my clients pay me to advise them on. So for everybody in the trenches, just know that you don't necessarily always have to crash out to run it up. Like there are literally people who want to pay us for our natural knowledge.
Bro, your God gifted talent.
Your
for
God
real.
gifted talent.
Now, I want to piggyback to one of your other products that you have. Below the first book, you have a children's book.
Yes. So
which age group does this suit for, by the way?
this book is good for kindergarten to about 5th grade. And one thing that I will say about it is it's really cute because this is really like pictures of me just as a cartoon. Talking about how, when I was younger, I really wasn't into school and wanting people to be, inspired by that. And then in the back is a coloring book. So activities that you could sit down and do with your kids, a maze, and different activities. And then in the end, I give students a certificate and they can draw themselves on that stage. So it's called Raven from the Bronx, the girl who found her shine.
Now that's beautiful. Now tell me, the author, how'd you guys collaborate on this novel?
So shouts to Shakira Premise. She reached out to me actually. We met during an event and we stayed in contact like on social media. And then she's a children's book author and she reached out to me. And she just wrote the book about me and I'm so grateful for the partnership. And then her and I partnered, my 12-year-old brother, he's autistic, and we partnered on a coloring book for him too.
No, that's amazing.
My mom, yeah.
Nah, for real. Now I want you I'm showing you this book. I showed the other one. Let's leave the link in the comment section below for where you guys can find these two novels, both on Amazon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Of course. All right. Now let's talk about fun for a minute. Being a Bronx, hometown, bro.
Yes.
Let's talk to me about upbringing.
Yes.
What would you describe your upbringing coming up in the Bronx?
I think I had the same upbringing as everybody else in the inner city, growing up poor, single parent home, evictions, all the things that unfortunately are not a norm in society, but are a norm
to us.
For us,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So growing up, chicken cutlet, white rice, corn was like the thing, but you know what? I was always happy.
I was
always happy. I feel like, growing up, I'm from Soundview, so, I feel like we always made like fun at everything. And I feel like we all were poor in a sense,
Yeah.
So in different capacities, it didn't always look the same, but we all grew up single parent homes. But we had fun and I was always happy.
Now that's fire. Now, what's one memorable memory that you have from childhood?
A memorable moment that I had from childhood, I will never forget after 8th grade prom, going to 131 Park with the printed out photos and like everybody from the hood was looking at them, and I just it's memorable because I just missed that, and now in the digital age you don't get that.
The show picture, yeah.
So we literally had the the camera, the Kodak, take it to the pharmacy, print it out, put in a little album book.
Nah, that's a great
yeah. So those are like always the most favorable moments of my childhood, like just being with groups of friends from my hood.
Now that's fire. Now, before we wrap up the Bronx segment, we're going to do a little fun segment that I want to talk about for a minute. You not from the Bronx
if you never been to Sin City.
Okay, now.
That's how I
it.
feel.
Respectfully. You know what it is.
Respectfully, yeah.
Now, talk to me. Let's talk culture for a second. I know you're very tapped in with your neighborhood.
Yes.
What Bronx businesses or institutions need more spotlight?
Bronx business, Sobro Garden, my man Jimmy Rodriguez. Shouts to Jimmy. Also, I would say there are just a bunch of like little boutiques and things like that we should all be shopping at. We should be like my makeup artists, like everybody local from the Bronx. Like one thing about me, like I feel like a lot of people act like they scared to come to the Bronx and all these different things, and it's for us to not be sweating like other, respectfully the other boroughs, to not be running the other boroughs, like to build our own economy amongst us. So, eat, do your makeup, shop, all good things all throughout the Bronx.
Come on now, you know it. Now, next question. What challenges do you see inside the Bronx that outsiders do not witness? Like people from out of state, Brooklyn don't notice. So talk to me.
One thing is, when it speaks to technology, we're still very behind. I remember I went to Morris High School and we didn't even have a computer lab, and I did not graduate that long ago. And think they still didn't have a computer lab. And then like for people who live by like Hunts Point and stuff like that, the service is really bad. Like I know people who have to buy routers for their home. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize because we have all like the highways and stuff, and we don't have as many like cellular towers. So um, that's a big one. Also transportation. So I grew up in Soundview. There are no trains in that area at all.
Oh wow.
And you have to take a bus to and from the train. And when I was younger and I hung out with people from other boroughs like Harlem or whatever, I was always the person, even as young as 14, 15, that would have to have cab money because not only is it a two-fare zone, which basically means you try to take a bus to the train, our buses stop at a certain time. And if that's not an equality, like, I don't know
Now you
what
gotta
is.
take an Uber late night.
But, Uber, it wasn't Uber back then. So it's like flagging a cab or all those different things versus other people who have access. So when you're talking about going to a conference or going to an event and things like that, some people can't afford to do that because to do that, the 27 bus stops around 7:30 and the 5 bus stops about 10 in both directions.
Yeah. Come on now. It's very inconvenient. Now, one more question. If you had $10 million to invest back into your neighborhood, how would you spend it?
I would so I'm about being fair. So I would put like $1 million into sports, $1 million into like legal clinics, $1 million into food, $1 million into like entrepreneurship, another $1 million into like our children's programs, like building like a YMCA because we don't have a YMCA, rebuilding like our local Kids Bay, redoing the community centers and all the different housing projects. So Soundview's composed of like Soundview projects, but like there's also Monroe and Castle Hill and Saccharin. So I would divide it in all of those places, and then I would do like a cool showcase or something for the community that we can look forward to. So I would probably spend $1 million on like a big turkey Christmas drive just so everybody could come out and have fun.
Now that's beautiful. Raven Robinson is for the people. You heard it here first, respectfully. Now, I want to